One move on this list is worth $1,800,000. It's not about income, it's not about stocks, and it's probably not what you're already doing. Stay for number one. We're counting down 7 money numbers that most people get completely wrong. Every figure is exact. Every concept is real. Stick around to number one. It's the number your entire financial life is building toward. Here's the part that breaks people's intuition. Everyone says Roth is king, and for some people it is. But run the actual math at the right tax rates, and the traditional 401k wins by a landslide. Here's the scenario. You contribute $10,000 a year for 30 years at a 6% return. Your tax rate today is 32%. Your tax rate in retirement is 12%. The traditional 401k grows to $837,096 before tax. After you pay that 12% in retirement, you walk away with $736,644. The Roth? You paid 32% tax up front, so it only grows to $569,225, and that's your final number, no further tax due. The difference is $167,419 in your pocket, in favor of traditional. The logic is simple. If your tax rate drops in retirement, deferring taxes now wins. In 2026, the elective deferral limit is $24,500. Most people aren't even close to maxing it. The Roth hype is real, but the math cares about your tax bracket, not the trend. But what if the biggest wealth trap isn't your retirement account at all? It's a decision almost everyone makes before they even open one. Renting gets a bad reputation, but over 30 years, the renter who invests the difference can come out $830,518 ahead of the buyer. Let's walk through it. Rent is $2,000 a month. To buy a comparable $400,000 home, you need a $40,000 down payment, and your monthly mortgage alone is $2,395 at 7%. Add taxes, insurance, and maintenance, and your year-one ownership cost hits $3,295 a month. The renter invests every dollar of that gap into the market at an assumed 8% annual return. Over 30 years, total rent paid is $1,141,810. Total cost of ownership is $1,518,976. The home appreciates at 4% a year and is worth $1,297,359. But after 6% selling costs, you net $1,219,517. The renter's brokerage account, $2,050,035. Renter net worth, $2,050,035. Buyer net worth, $1,219,517. That's an $830,518 gap. The buy always rule isn't a rule, it's a habit. The math depends entirely on what you do with the difference. Speaking of money quietly disappearing, the next item is about something sitting in your driveway that might be robbing you every single month. Your car might be worth $5,000. Your annual insurance premium might be $1,000. That means you're paying 20% of the car's value every year just to insure it. Here's the rule. If your annual premium exceeds 10% of the car's value, the math says drop comprehensive and collision. On a $5,000 car, 10% is $500. You're paying $1,000, double that threshold. In a worst-case total loss, the insurance company pays out the car's market value anyway. If the car is worth $5,000, you're paying $1,000 a year for a max payout of $5,000. That's a 5-year payback at best, with a deductible on top. Self-insuring that risk and banking the premium often wins. This is the 10% rule, and in 2026, it's more relevant than ever as car values shift. Always keep liability that protects others. But comprehensive on a beater? Run the number first. Now let's talk about debt, because there are 2 popular methods to kill it, and one of them costs you more than it should. There are 2 famous ways to pay off debt, Avalanche and Snowball. The Snowball feels great. The Avalanche saves money. Here's the exact math. You've got 3 debts, $7,000 at 22.99%, $3,500 at 18.49%, and $2,000 at 9.99%. Total balance, $12,500. You put $1,500 a month toward them. Snowball attacks the smallest balance first regardless of rate. Avalanche attacks the highest interest rate first. Snowball clears the debt in 10 months and costs you $1,306 in interest. Avalanche takes 11 months, 1 extra month, and costs only $1,013 in interest. The difference is $293. You pay $293 more to feel the win sooner. That's not wrong if it keeps you motivated. Behavior beats math if the math never happens. But if you got the discipline, Avalanche wins every time. Know which type of person you are before you pick a method. Debt is a hole you're climbing out of, but the next item is about what happens when you start climbing up and just how much starting earlier matters. The single most powerful force in personal finance isn't income, it's time. Here's the proof. Two people invest $500 a month at a 7% annual return. Person A starts at age 22. Person B starts at age 32. That's just 10 years of difference. Person A ends up with $1,638,065. Person B ends up with $772,032. The gap is $866,033, nearly $1 million from a single decade of delay. Person B would have to contribute significantly more every month just to close that gap. The money person put in during their 20s didn't just grow. It became the engine that compounded everything else on top of it. This is why starting matters more than the amount. The cost of waiting isn't felt today. It's felt in your 60s when the math is already written. But here's something most people never even think to do. A move that takes about 5 minutes and can save thousands with a single phone call. Most people get a big medical bill, see the number, and pay it. That is a mistake. Here's the data. Across multiple studies, 76% of people who ask for a reduction on their medical bill actually get one. 76%. One study clocked it at 62%, another at 74%, the most recent at 76%. The ask works more often than it fails. Here's a real example of how this plays out. A $6,000 medical bill gets negotiated down to $1,500. That's $4,500 saved in a single phone call. Hospitals have financial assistance programs, charity care tiers, and uninsured discounts that they are not required to advertise. You have to ask. The script is simple. I can't afford this bill in full. What financial assistance programs do you offer? In 2026, this is one of the highest return, lowest effort moves in personal finance. The worst they can say is no, and statistically, they usually don't. All of this, the savings, the investing, the debt payoff, is building toward one number. And that number is bigger than most people expect. Everything on this list feeds into one number, the number you actually need to retire. If you want to spend $6,000 a month in retirement, that's $72,000 a year. Using the 4% withdrawal rule, one of the most widely cited frameworks in retirement planning, you divide your annual spend by 0.04. The answer is $1,800,000. That's your target. The 4% rule is based on the idea that a balanced portfolio can sustain a 4% annual withdrawal without running out of money over a 25-year retirement. $1,800,000 invested, 4% drawn down each year, $72,000 out every single year, without touching the principal in a healthy market. In 2026, with inflation, healthcare costs, and longer lifespans, this number is more important to understand than ever. It's not a ceiling, it's a floor. Now you have a number. Work backward from it. Everything else on this list is just the path. We open with $1,800,000, and now you know exactly what it means and how to get there. If one of these numbers hit differently, follow along for one money twist a day. Next up, we're breaking down the single biggest fee quietly eating your portfolio. You won't want to miss it.